Every morning, trucks like this one leave the Norske Skog paper mill north of Hobart. Full of paper-making byproduct, they make a 20-minute drive up into the picturesque Plenty Valley to this farm, where the contents are unloaded and disposal is handed over to Jenkins Hire. Evenly spread and properly aerated, paper waste makes for very good compost. But when it's stockpiled and highly odorous materials aren't allowed to dry, it becomes a problem.
The concern that has been is that hasn't been effectively managed in the past, and that's why the EPA has needed to step in.
The property is owned by Jenkins Hire, which also operates a nearby composting pad. It accepts waste from the salmon industry and treated sewage from Taswater, which the companies like to spruik as a positive alternative to landfill. A large amount of what is produced here also ends up on nearby paddocks, owned by Timothy Jenkins and his wife Susan.
And from Norske Skog Boyer waste.
Dr Fiona Beer moved to the Plenty Valley in early 2020 to take up a position as the local GP.
The smell basically kind of smelled like you were from the inside of the house, you'd walk outside and it smelled like there was a sewage tank here.
She and several other community members brought their concerns to the attention of the EPA.
It was also potentially had concerns about water quality, and clearly the incident that occurred in September 2020 resulted in impacts on the Plenty River.
That incident involved the alleged spilling of hazardous materials from Jenkins Hire into the nearby Plenty River, causing a mass fish kill. That matter is currently before the courts. Following a subsequent routine inspection, the Forest Practices Authority charged Timothy and Susan Jenkins with allegedly clearing native vegetation without a permit. That case is also before the courts. On the other side of the Plenty River is Libby Cooper's property.
As you can see, the topography of the land is naturally inclined to run off straight into the Plenty River.
Her family has lived here for 4 generations. They rely on the Plenty River and draw water from it.
We have a lack of confidence in the health of the river, and as someone that grew up swimming in the river, I'm not comfortable with my children swimming in the river.
The EPA has since issued an environmental protection notice prohibiting the spreading of waste on land which slopes towards the Plenty. It says it's currently satisfied Jenkins Hire is operating at an appropriate standard. Jenkins Hire didn't respond to our request for an interview. The site is one of just 4 facilities in Tasmania, and it's by far the closest to Norske Skog, which makes it attractive in order to reduce transport costs. The EPA says its focus is getting these kinds of facilities up to standard, not shutting them down.
If any one facility is completely shut down, it actually has massive implications across other businesses, the broader community. It's in everyone's interest that we work with these sites to be able to get them back onto a more secure environmental footing, even if we are in the process of prosecuting them.
But it's not to say they won't step in. This facility is a combined venture between Barwick's and Pure Living Soil in Tasmania's Midlands, which also accepts fish waste and sewage. Back in February, the EPA began an investigation after the release of liquid waste from this site onto neighbouring farmland. Afterwards, the EPA imposed a ban on this site receiving liquid waste and unmacerated fish. That ban has since been lifted, subject to conditions. The EPA said the investigation is still ongoing, and so they wouldn't release any more details. The operator of this site didn't want to speak to us. The volume of waste produced in Tasmania has increased dramatically over the past 2 decades, but Wes Ford says waste treatment is way behind.
The companies that produce the waste need to find adequate solutions, and they need to invest in the management of those solutions.
Trying to speak to some of the major players about waste has been frustrating. Norske Skog, Salmon Tasmania and Taswater all declined to be interviewed, as did Environment Minister Roger Jensch. The state government has plans to build 2 new organic waste facilities, one next to Norske Skog. It will be run by Barwix, which also operates Interlaken, but no completion date has been provided. Will Murray, ABC News.